Hi, it's Daphne. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a book tag, specifically the Desert Island book tag. I was graciously tagged by the creator of this tag, or the modifier of the original tag, Kahli from Kahli's Kawaii Corner. So thank you for tagging me, and I'm happy to finally be getting around to making this video. All right, so the idea of this tag is that if I found myself stranded on a deserted island, which 5 books would I desperately need to bring with me? She put a twist on this tag by making the tag taker specify which books from specific genres they would choose. It'll make sense as we go along, it's not that confusing. So when I was going through the books that I've read and haven't read and things that are on my shelf that I'm really interested in or really love, I didn't want to pick books that were from series because I could just imagine being on a deserted island, reading the first book in a series, even if I read it before, and just being like tortured by the fact that I can't continue the series. So I immediately crossed a series off my list. And then I also didn't want to pick a book that would make me crazier while deserted on an island. So I've been wanting to reread The Picture of Dorian Gray, but like that book would make me go even crazier while I'm isolated on a deserted island. So I was like, no, I can't read that. And then Lord of the Flies is also like an epic deserted island book that I love, but would I want to read about kids going crazy on a deserted island while being on a deserted island myself? So it's like, no, I can't read books that are gonna contribute to the horribleness of being on a deserted island. So I took that into consideration. The first book I had to pick had to be from the mystery thriller genre, and I decided to choose The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. I've been absolutely raving about this book, but you haven't seen anything yet because I haven't posted my wrap-up, my April wrap-up where I read this book, and those vlogs are still in the works. I've kind of touched on them, I think, in some of the vlogs. You can check those out if you want, but I ended up absolutely loving this book. I will give you more details in my wrap-up, but if you don't know, this is a mystery book with some sci-fi, with some like fantasy elements, because there's this like Groundhog Day element in the story where this man wakes up and relives the day over and over again. But each time he wakes up, it's in a different body of the guests at this old English estate where there's a party happening, and Evelyn is murdered and he has to figure out how she gets murdered. It is so good, and the way everything ties together, chef's kiss, amazing. I don't think I would get bored reading this multiple times while on a deserted island. I feel like I would piece together the nuances more and more each time. And it's so complex, if I put it down for a time, who knows how long I'm on this island, it'll just be fresh again and new. Even if I know like the ultimate ending, how we get there would still be fun. So, great book, and I think perfect for a deserted island. And then she wanted me to pick a book from the horror genre. I don't read horror, but if you twisted my arm and made me pick a horror book, I'd probably pick Daphne by Josh Malerman. I haven't read this book, it hasn't even come out yet. He's the same guy that wrote Bird Box, which was made into like a Netflix movie, if that's saying anything. So it can't be that bad. I mean, they adapted it, and it has my name, which is epic. And the character is some kind of like this woman who's killing people or something. She's like stalking a basketball team, which I find even more hilarious because I grew up playing basketball. I played basketball in college, so I just find that hilarious. So if I had to pick a horror, I'd probably pick this one because I just want to read it because it has my name. How cool. And I'll never forget my name, right? I'm on a deserted island. Am I ever gonna forget my name? Maybe if I'm by myself and no one's gonna say it, but if I have a book that has my name, at least I have my identity. Hopefully I don't go crazy and think I am this person in the book, but what a cool pick. Like I said, because I don't read horror, I kind of cheated a little bit, and I was like, okay, if I were to skip that, I'm gonna add another book as like a fill-in because I can do whatever I want. And I pick a literary book, and the book I would choose is Anxious People by Frederick Bachman. This is probably still my all-time favorite book to date. It is so amazing. This is like a Swedish translated novel, and I think this would be perfect for a desert island. It's a lot about human connections and wit and humor and heartache and love and second chances and forgiveness, and there's just so much about like the human experience in this book while still being a fun, kind of mysterious ride. So this is about a bank robbery gone wrong and a hostage situation that ensues in an open house. And I would recommend not knowing anything else about this book before you go in. The way things are revealed, the humor of the narrator. It's not written in first person, it's written in third person, but the narrator is such a character, and he just calls the reader out, calls people out, calls 20-somethings out, and chef's kiss, amazing. Highly recommend. One of my all-time favorite books of all time. And yeah, I think remembering what it is to be a human would be very beneficial while I'm on a deserted island. So this would definitely have to come along with me. Then in the tag, Kahli asked us to pick a fantasy/sci-fi book to take on our deserted island getaway, whether it's a voluntary getaway or an involuntary getaway. And I decided to choose the Iliad and the Odyssey by Homer, and that's upside down. So I have not read this since high school, and in high school, I don't even think I really read it to its full capacity, but like, when am I ever gonna have a chance as perfect as being deserted to really sit down and enjoy this epic tale? There's, I'm sure, so much action and adventure that goes on here. Obviously, it's a very well-known classic, even more classic than classic, like ancient classic story. So I think this would keep me very entertained with all the diversity and the stories and the tales and the adventure. So this deserted island experience would be the perfect time to finally read the Iliad and the Odyssey. Then the last category she put in was for romance. After romance, it's a wild card pick. So for romance, this was extremely hard for me to pick. I'm a romance reader. And how am I supposed to choose out of all the romances that I've read a singular book that I want to take with me on a deserted island? What am I trying to get out of this romance book? There's so many kinds of romance books. Am I there for the steam? Am I there for the real love connection? Am I there for the slow burn? What do I want to get the most out of my experience on a deserted island with a romance book? And I decided I need to take care of myself as a human, and I went for steam. So I picked a trashy romance book. You can call it trashy if you want to call it trashy, and it's Barbarian's Mate in the Ice Planet Barbarian series by Ruby Dixon. Is this the best work of fiction I've ever read? No. Did I rate it 5 stars? Yes, I did, because it's just so entertaining and so fun and so steamy. There was angst, there was tension, there was good steam, there was romance, there was overcoming obstacles, emotional obstacles, learning about people, and just like adventure also. Like, there was just a lot of good things going on in this short fantasy sci-fi novel that, like, I just reread it all the time because I just eat it up. Plus, this is the 7th book in a series, so there was a lot of build up over the previous books with this couple, like, hinted at. So the tension was like real as the reader. They're like, oh, I can't wait to get to their story. I can see it like forming. And yeah, so that adds to my enjoyment of the book. But as a human, I need to take care of myself and read something fun and steamy to like lighten the depressiveness I imagine it would be to like be alone on a deserted island. So that's what I picked. Take it or leave it, but I'm taking it with me. And then the final choice she gives us can be a wild card. And what did I do? I picked another sexy romance book. So this book is Vampire Instinct, and I just checked, but this is also the 7th book in a series. This book is by Joey W. Hill, and 7 is really a lucky number because this is also like a 5-star read. I don't remember if I like rated it 5 stars originally, but I always go back to it because just like the tension and the romance and the connection, you just feel it so intensely that I just love rereading like my favorite scenes out of that book. This is about a kind of, it's not really like BDSM, but it's very like dom submissive vampire human consort servant. I won't call it slave because it's all voluntary, and this one is just so touching. The main male vampire is Native American. He like owns his own island where he rehabilitates wild cats, and the human woman is very damaged. She has been assaulted, sexually assaulted, and she is in need of nurturing and everything this vampire man has to offer. And I just feel the love so much. The tension is great, the angst is great, and I always go back to it. So again, I'm taking care of myself. I need some joy while I'm stranded on a deserted island, so this would definitely come with me for sure. This series definitely isn't for everyone, but if you're into vampires and kind of some dom submissive stuff, I recommend this series for sure. And then again, because I can do whatever I want, I added another wild card because it's so hard to choose like only 5 books. And I decided to go with my extra bonus book, one of my nostalgic favorite books. Again, this is not the best book ever written. I'm not like a basic classic whatever. I'm not like, oh, you know, I like looked at Pride and Prejudice. I was like, oh, maybe that would be cute. But I'm like, I'm not that girl. You know, I want to go with my gut and like my history with reading and what brings me the most joy. So I decided to bring with me The Host by Stephenie Meyer. Obviously, Stephenie Meyer wrote Twilight. That is what she is famous for. That is the cash cow she is still milking. But honestly, The Host is an amazing book. I don't know why people are sleeping on this. Are people sleeping on this? Like, if you haven't read Stephenie Meyer's The Host, what are you doing? Please read it. It's actually really good. It's still YA for sure, YA vibes. It doesn't like take it to that adult level with the romance. This is a sci-fi romance. It is about an alien race that takes over Earth, and the aliens are very parasitic, so they are inserted into like the spinal cords of the humans, and they like take over the human's body, and the human soul is like gone. They just disappear. And it's about this alien named Wanda and how she's in this girl and how the girl refuses to disappear out of her own mind. So they're both fighting like for control, and there's a romance that ensues because the humans are still trying to survive secretly, and the beginning is really slow with trying to get to the humans that Wanda's body, I forget what her name is, I think it's like Wanda's body, Melanie, is trying to get them to go to. But once you're there and you meet the guys there, Melanie has a love that she's trying to reconnect with, and Wanda draws the attention of another guy because he sees her for herself, not just a parasitic alien. And his name's Ian, I'll just tell you, and I love him so much. Literally probably my first book love of all time. I read this in middle school, and I named my egg baby, which is like this middle school thing you have to do, you have to take care of an egg to like prove you can take care of a baby, whatever, to show the responsibility, yada yada yada. I named my egg baby Ian for the man in this book because I just love him so much. He takes my heart, and I would not recommend watching the movie. I did not even bother. I was like, it's not gonna do it right. It's gonna do the story dirty. So I would not recommend that, but I would definitely recommend reading this. For me, this is a classic in my reading journey in life. So absolutely love it, obsessed. I would happily bring this with me on a deserted island. All right, so those are all the books, the 7 books I would bring on a deserted island. 6 really, because I don't really read horror, but like, I like the response I gave. I thought that was kind of clever. I'm gonna pat myself on the back. But yeah, those are the 5 to 7 books I would bring with me on a deserted island. Obviously, this tag is open to anyone who wants to do it. Tag me and Kaylee if you saw this video and watched her video and want us to see your video. I'd love to check it out and see what you'd bring on a deserted island. And if I tag anyone specifically, obviously I'll leave it down in the description below. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll catch you in another video. Bye!